Haran as well. The next morning Tomasha walks down and meets up with Yogiri and asks him if they would be chasing after their classmates right away. Just then the concierge walks up to them and introduces herself as Celestina. It turns out this hotel is a first-class establishment for rich people that takes care of anything and everything they request of them as long as they can pay for it. Yuri asks her for help with locating their classmates and she gives them a map to the royal capital and 2 tickets for a train headed there. She says that according to their information network their classmates are making their way to the capital through the forest while slaying local monsters to grind some levels. Yuri also gives her all of their gold and valuables to invest in some form of high-yielding accounts and she prepares some items including a charger for Yogiri switch and translations to help them on their journey as well. After that they board the train and head to the capital and on their way Tacha also tells Yogiri about Makoko and they chill out. Tomasha eventually ends up sitting beside Yogiri while cranking his charger while wondering about their classmate when Yogiri suddenly grabs her and ducks down as a powerful slash attack cuts their roof over their head in one go. The train conductor tells everyone to calm down and to make their way to safety as they spot a robotic alien called Aggressor who is invading their world fighting a sage named Sanu. Their battle looks something out of this world with each of them throwing mountain leveling attacks at each other. Tomasha asks Yogiri if he's going to put them both down as they came in his way but he says that that's not a reason to kill someone. He says that he has to set up a clear standard so he doesn't end up killing and knock at people for small things like annoying him and such as that's unfair. Soon the sage and the aggressor battle take them near Yogiri and the sage being the stuck-up piece of ass that he is kills a lot of trained passengers behind them saying that they are just collateral damage to their fight and that Yogiri and Tomasha should be bowing their head down in front of his mighty sage ass. This annoys Yogiri enough to turn the sage life switch off and seeing this makes the aggressor really afraid of him. He completely surrenders in front of the opus protagonist and offers to help him in any way he can. Yogiri asks him about ways to return to his original world and the robot says that he only knows how to go back to his own world and can't take him there because he's too dangerous for one and secondly he hasn't brought his real body here so he can't really take objects out of this world with him anyways. Besides that he tells Yogiri that if he has enough mana and the right coordinates then he can certainly go back to his real world. Yogiri says it's alright and tells him to guide him once he has the mana and coordinates and the robot happily agrees to make the most out of it. Makoko also asks for a shape-changing gear weapon from the robot to help Tomasha with her fights. On the other hand we see the knights in the city taking one of the goons who lost his eyesight after Yogiri killed them to an immortal vampire sage named Lane. She tries to heal the eye by reconstructing it from scratch but it still doesn't restore its functionality. She also tries turning the goon into her underling by biting his neck but that still doesn't work. But then someone breaks into their room and it turns out to be a hero who is supposed to be fighting monsters and aggressors. The hero says that he must put an end to the tyranny of the sages and uses his special attack called a plane and 2 towers to blow the whole place up but it doesn't do any damage to the vampire sages. She says that if it were to be so easy to end her life things would have been so much better. She then says that she's too bored to deal with him and simply kicks him out of her tower without killing him. After that she tells the knights to follow Yogiri and find where he is and then heads off to meet Sage Shin and talks to her about this instant death ability guy. Shin says that she would prefer if Lion didn't interfere with the Sage candidacy tests but if she takes care of the calamity called darkness for her then she will allow it. Lion agrees and tells the captain of her underling army called the Immortal Core Masayuki to go to the city of Hanabusa as she might need them there. Meanwhile we see Irie and Tachiki making their way to the nearest city from their train wreck which happens to be Hanabusa as well. It turns out to be a pretty modern city with tall skyscrapers and constructions resembling modern day Japan. While walking through, Makoko notes that instead of being protected by physical walls the city is surrounded by a protective barrier that keeps monsters out. They soon reach the first-class hotel that Celestina recommended to them and after walking inside coincident meets up with one of their classmates named Yuki who's now wearing some fantasy clothes. Tomasha asks him what he was doing there as the others should still be in the forest work and would like to be his mistress making her so dry the Sahara Desert becomes jealous of her. She asks him what makes him so confident and he explains that he has been blessed with one of the strongest classes in this world known as Dominator which allows him to turn weak opponents into his servants. It turns out when Yuki and the other classmates were together grinding in the forest everyone tried to avoid him due to his class but then Arudo approached him and revealed that he is a consultant class. He tells him about the hidden details of his Dominator skill and suggests a plan that G on their levels but he says that he moves separately from them as he has a far superior and more efficient way of leveling up. He then introduces his harem of bodyguards consisting of 5 women whom he chose from his sea of girlfriends. Yuri wonders what he was up to and Tacha explains that he has always been popular among girls due to his good looks, but there seems to be something more at play here. Just then Yuki turns to her and asks